Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another Koze Daily Brew. Today I wanted to answer one of the questions that I got asked on the community page, and I asked you guys what you wanted to talk about, and that is, what would I do if YouTube didn't exist? Okay, I've been doing YouTube now consistently since I picked up my camera in 2012, and I started like the fall tag and like my college dorm tour that fall. So since 2012 technically, which would be, oh my god, that would be 7 years, which is crazy. But I didn't get fully signed to like a network, and I didn't start getting paid for YouTube. Like, it didn't become my job until, well, it became my part-time job the following summer. And then I took it on full-time about a year after that. So I've been doing it for like almost 6 years full-time now. That's crazy. I've never really like kind of broken it down like that. But it's weird to think about what I would do if YouTube wasn't around, because I love it so much and because I don't ever not enjoy my job. There's times that I definitely load way too much on my plate and stress myself out with my job and stress myself out with what I expect of myself and like how much I expect out of myself to produce and produce and produce. But I love my job, and that's kind of why I get that way. So to think about what I would do if YouTube doesn't exist, I do know what I would be doing. There's like 3 different things I could think of, and I'm gonna tell you guys them today. So, fun fact, I think I talked about this in a podcast recently, but I was going back into my just like old stuff, and I found that I got accepted to go to teachers college, and that is one thing that I totally forgot. I wanted to be a teacher forever. From the time I was pretty much in like the later years of elementary school throughout most of high school, I was pretty damn sure I was going to be a teacher, and I was pretty damn sure it would be grade 2s. Don't ask me why. I think it was something along the lines of grade 2 was one of my favorite years, like as an earlier just time being a kid. And also I just love the age of kids when they're in grade 2. I think that they're super fun because they're not in like the early elementary school stage where you're like finger painting. You're kind of at a point where you're teaching them how to read and how to write. And I think that in grade 2, I think you're like 7 or 8 in grade 2. And I think that that's like a time where brains are just so, they just soak things up, and you can really just like make some impact and some change in some grade 2s. I actually co-opted a grade 2 class, so I just loved the idea of teaching grade 2s. And if I didn't teach grade 2s, I wanted to be a high school teacher, solely because there were a few teachers in my high school that actually made a big impact in my life. And I remember just being a teenager and having like 2 or 3 teachers I can think of that I had like more than just that teacher-student relationship with. It was also just, they would pull me aside and they would ask me how I was doing, and they would talk to me about some bigger life things going on. And that was like really impactful for me in high school. So I think that it would either be high school for that reason, but also grade 2s. That's what I wanted to do. And so when I was in grade 12, I applied to do this like teachers college course where I would go away to college, and part of it was also too that you would go and like live for, I think it was like either 6 months or a year in Universal or Disneyland, and you would work there and you would also make a little bit of money. And I got accepted into this program, but then I didn't end up going. And I didn't end up going because my parents basically divorced and all that stuff went on in grade 12, and just like my whole direction shifted. That said, because of that directional shift, I ended up going away to interior design, getting my camera, and now here I am YouTubing with you guys today. So everything happens for a reason. That said, I probably would have been a teacher if that all didn't happen. Now let's talk about if YouTube were to like just suddenly evaporate into thin air today, what would I do? I think there's a few things that I could see myself doing and loving and enjoying, and they're all kind of relative to what I'm technically doing in a lot of ways today. The first thing I would love to do is to get my life coach certificate. I would love to open up some sort of avenue where I could actually deal one-on-one with individuals and life coach. There's nothing that makes me feel more empowered and more just fulfilled than helping somebody else get it. And not in the way of telling anyone else how to live their life, but when someone has a problem, I love fixing it. And I love fixing it in a way where it's just like, I don't even fix it, I just give a little bit of like insight, which helps give that mind shift and perspective change that then makes the person that I'm dealing with, or the person that's having whatever issue, suddenly feel like they have it in themselves to fix it. And that feeling is like the best feeling ever. I love that feeling. And I love that feeling because, again, I feel like there's times where I've even needed that feeling, and things and just gathering just inspo and motivation and wisdom from books and all of these places to get that mental shift for myself is one of the best feelings in the world. So I love taking what's worked for me and then turning around and being like, hey, this might work for you too. And so I feel like life coaching would be a big thing. And then aside from that, I don't think throughout my entire life I'll ever not write. It's one of those things I'm getting more and more comfortable with releasing. Obviously, I've released Catcher now and I've released Feels for you guys, but I write every single day, sometimes twice a day, and most of the time it's like super duper sappy and just like right all up in the feels. And it makes me, I guess, a little embarrassed to share that stuff because I like writing poetry and I like writing a lot of things that are a little bit more on the sappier side. And I think that just because naturally, like by nature, when I'm filming videos and when I'm with like friends, family, and people, I'm not overly sappy actually in person. It's one of those things though that I feel most safe to be that vulnerable side of myself that is just like a helpless romantic or loves to look at life very metaphorically when I'm writing. And so writing is one of those things that I definitely think that even if I wasn't doing YouTube, I would have always ended up writing at some point or writing a book at some point, even if it was just for me. So writing. And then third and last, and it's one of those things I'm actually working on this year, so it's going to be something that I technically would do either way. But if YouTube evaporated, I would probably start up my own yoga studio. No, I would start up my own yoga studio and lead yoga classes and meditation classes, because yoga and meditation are two probably of the biggest things that I would say root me into who I am today, and also completely changed my life and changed my relationship with myself, actually. That's probably why I feel so passionate about it. And so if YouTube went away, I'm working on getting my yoga certificate actually right now, and so I'm doing the 200 hours, and solely because I want to be able to make yoga videos with you guys, and if I do meetups to host yoga classes. But also too, if YouTube ever did go anywhere, I probably would start up or teach my practice at a yoga studio, or maybe even make my own yoga studio at some point. So yeah, that's my answer. So that's where I would be if YouTube did not exist. That's what I would have done or what I would be doing. But I want to know, if your job, whatever it is that you do right now, didn't exist, what would you do? Or if you could have any dream job in the whole world, leave it down below. Aside from that, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this morning, and I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow. Bye guys.